I was on earlier, and all I was saying when I heard the man saying the courts merged law with equity, by what authority?
I don't know. What's was talking about that. The only things that I've seen is that the administrative offices, which operate the commercial courts, merchant courts and things, and admiralty, just simply merged administrations. Instead of operating out of two buildings, they operate out of one.
You say it's a simple question. You're saying in a civil action, the courts merged law with equity, and I'm just trying to say, where does any court get the authority to do any act?
It would get it from the plaintiff.
Okay, so
provided he has standing.
So if they get it from the plaintiff, say the government's the plaintiff, why do you bother accepting the title of defendant? You don't have to accept the title.
Hey, I didn't say I was defendant. I make that argument all the time.
If you did, it would be very simple. Say, at this time I can't move forward and act as the defendant. And what do they say?
Well, what kind of case you're talking about, too.
Any kind of case. If I just can't be bothered, I don't care. If any government agency tries to come after me, just say, I can't afford at this time to move forward as a defendant. I can't accept the title at this time. Sorry. And there's no law that requires a man to accept the title.
Right.
Okay, and that's it. And like I said, when you say that, yes, I've seen that plenty of times written where it says the courts have merged law with equity. Yeah, great, but where do they derive their authority to do anything?
Well, this is where, agency comes in, because anything that I can do by agent. Can I?
Well, I'm saying any kind of government agency, if they want to create a law, they have to go through an act of Congress.
Well,
so where do you see it in the statute? Where do you see it anywhere in the statute of law passed or ratified by Congress that the courts can merge law and equity, and that's the only way that you can move a complaint is to a civil action?
Well, it depends on if you're taking a common law action. The question, every legal question is, it depends. What are the circumstances? What are the facts? Who are you? Who is he? What are you doing here? What's your status? Who are you?
But I'm saying you don't have to be in their courts if you don't wish to be in their courts.
Well, if you get the invitation to summons, but sometimes they'll pull you out of the car, pull you out of the house, and take you down there.
Yeah, I didn't say anything about pulling you out. I'm saying once you go in, they can't force you into anything. They can't make you go into anything. They could tell you to appear. They can invite you. They can summons you. They can invite you, but they can't force you.
All right.
So if they summons you to appear, just say at this time I can't accept such a lovely invitation. I can't come in as the title of defendant. I'm a man, and there's no law that requires me to appear as a defendant.
Well, I agree, because I want to see a valid claim, right? If somebody is coming in, there better be another man.
Well, it could be a government, but like I said, it could be the government.
Sure.
But like I said, if you want to,
if the prosecutor is acting on my behalf, or the state is acting on my behalf as in my capacity as a citizen, not that I am, but as by anything that, if I can make the arrest, I can hire an agent to do it. Anything that I can do, an agent can do. I can hire an agent.
Well, what I'm saying is this: if the government decides to try, if somebody in the government wishes to define me as a defendant, and if I think I could beat them in their own court, I won't mind accepting the title of the defendant, because as soon as I beat them, I'm going to file a claim against them for wasting my time and bringing a false claim into the public and besmirching my good name.
Well, here's a secret or a hint that, or rule of thumb that one could use when they talk about jurisdiction and whether or not the court has it over you, or in personam, in rem, or whatever. When when an entity brings a suit in court, it must have a real party and interest behind it. And what I mean, there must be that real man or woman who has suffered loss, harm or damage or wrong, that is suing in the name of that entity, which they can. For instance, if I have stock and I have invested money into an entity, say a corporation, a lending corporation, and they lent you money, you personally, not your straw man, but you, and you signed for it, yes, I can sue on behalf, in the name of my entity before the losses that have been incurred by your default, if you're the one that's liable on the contract.
The man is liable for the acts of his person.
I think all men are responsible for their actions.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Man is responsible for the act of their person. So if your person intercourses with a bank, the man is liable. When they call the person forward, they're going to hold the man liable for the acts of the person.
Yes, unless the man was an agent acting on behalf of a principal, in which case the principal would be liable, correct?
Yeah, right. But that's what I'm saying. It doesn't, but who would be the principal then? When you sign a loan,
well,
who's benefiting it?
After I went through my little dealings with the court and stuff, I know what they told me. I know what the birth certificate is. I know how it was created and why it was created, and why it creates that legal relationship, and why it was ruled invalid.
Okay, but I'm saying if you borrow money from me,
right.
if I start a little local bank, a little community bank, or I start a little community credit union, and you borrow money from me, and you borrow money from our members. There's 53 people who decided to pull their money together and loan money out to local people. Just like It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart, it was a localized bank. If somebody doesn't come up with a payment, what makes you think the local folks don't have the right to just come and seize your property and auction it off to pay the creditors who gave you the money to begin with? And what does it have to do with birth certificate?
Oh, that's perfectly possible. But the answer is it depends. Do I own absolute perfect title to the land? If I do, that creates a circumstance. Am I a citizen? Do I use the benefits and privileges of the citizenship? That's another circumstance. Am I a foreigner, or am I one of the people? That's another circumstances. And this is why while law is basic in its principles, in its circumstances of cases gets quite complicated, so it's kind of hard to apply the basic principle to certain circumstances when you have all these variables, and we can't say this is for this is the law for everybody, because what's the law for you is not what the law is for me, because I may have entered into contracts which you aren't obligated to, right?
Well, it's a very basic, simple standard that's been around for tens of thousands of years. If you borrow something from the community, you've got to give it back.
Yes.
Yeah, they expect it back. If you don't give it back, you're a dishonorable man. Why don't you just pay off your debt? Right.
I agree.
Why don't you just pay it off?
How about this? How about don't get into debt in the first place?
No, that's a wonderful thing to get into. If you need to get into debt, that's fine. I got no problem with people getting into debt, borrowing something from me. If you need to borrow something from me, you want to borrow my chainsaw? Fine, borrow my chainsaw and come back with half a cord of wood. And you can get to borrow my chainsaw. That's fine. I got no problem. And the guy said, that's great. He's going to go cut 10 cords of wood. Just give me a hand.
Carl, thanks for the offer, buddy. But I actually have a job, and I have my own chainsaw, but thanks for the offer.
What I'm saying is I would benefit because, like me, personally, I have two chainsaws. My friend is actually borrowing one of mine right now. When he comes back with a chainsaw, I also expect to see a load of firewood in the back of his pickup truck when he brings back my chainsaw, because he just cut 10 loads for himself that he sold to other people. No, that's fine. Credit is fine. Loaning to each other's neighbors, that's fine.
I agree.
Just pay back the debt. What's the big deal?
Yep.
If he gets behind and he says, look, the best I can do is 3 pieces of wood. I can't fill the back of the pickup truck. It's like, why not? Well, it was snowing. My baby had a toothache. Okay, whatever. I'm going to take him at his word. But the best he could do is give me 3 pieces of wood. I expected 300 pieces of wood, but you know what? I'm going to take him at his word. Or when he comes up the next time and wants to borrow my chainsaw, it's like, no, I don't think so, because the last time you came and you only gave me 3 pieces of wood instead of 300. You know what? I think I'm going to have to respectfully decline at this time.
Okay.
I'm going to somebody else.
Oh, that's great that you're such a nice guy, Carl.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, I'll lend it to the next guy. I'm not going to. No, nice means fool. Literally, nice means fool. I'm not a nice guy. I'm not a fool. If he only bring me 3 pieces of wood when he promised me 300, I'm going to loan it to somebody else. I'm going to just stick the chainsaw on the side and say, you know what? I'm going to wait until somebody else comes by, because you know what? You're not a man of your word. You're not going to give me back what you agreed to pay back. You know what? So you know what? I'll just wait for the next man. Thank you anyway.
Right, but what do we do about the gentleman who's such not forgiving fellow or understanding person or a compassionate fellow? What about the guy who said, well, hold on, man, I have to have heat for my children. You told me you have 300 pieces of wood here, load of wood here, and we have this contract right here.
That's why this is a Judeo-Christian land. We can go eye for eye, tooth for tooth, like the Jewish Judeo side, or we could do forgive and forget like the Christian side. We have the option in this land. It's a wonderful land.
Yes, and you're right. You can choose to forgive or you can choose to enforce. Now, the problem comes in is when we have two hardheads getting together and they don't want to be amenable. You know, they don't want to be nice neighbors or loving neighbors.
That's why they take it into the open public, and that's why you have the jury or the judge decide. If they can't settle it amongst themselves and they're bringing it into the public, somebody's going to step into the public and they're going to make them settle it.
Sometimes you may be the defendant. And
yeah.
you might have to rightfully and rightly so defend against the claim.
Of course. I got no problem with that. If some man wants to say, some little lady says I robbed her a pocketbook, maybe there's a guy who looks exactly like me. Because somebody said that there's somebody who looks exactly like me somewhere in England. So if I got accused of robbing a pocketbook while I was over in England, obviously I had to defend myself. I said, ma'am, honestly, I could show the facts and I could prove that I was over here at this time. I don't know who. I might look exactly like this man, but I'm telling you it wasn't me. I don't mind defending that. I'll say, you know, you made an honest mistake, man.
All right. Well, Karl, you're being accused, theoretically speaking, hypothetically. You're here for operating a motor vehicle upon the highways in a commercial capacity, thus in taxable and commercial activity. You know, there may be, and not to saying that it's right, but there may be some contractual obligations that we are not aware of. Or,
right. I'd say you're damn right. I'd say you're absolutely right. If that's what you believe I was doing, I am not here to dispute with your beliefs. If you believe in Muhammad, if you believe I was operating a commercial vehicle, blah, 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 I totally agree. And?
Right. And there may be a circumstance when you are actually operating a motor vehicle in
if you believe I am, if you believe I am, I am. That's your belief. I'm not going to try to dispel your belief. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to just say to you, prove it.
Right.
Just like that little old lady. You think I stole your pocketbook? Prove it. There's going to be elements that you're going to require, like a third-party impartial witness.
If you was listening to Karl earlier, you know, I feel the same way. If you're going to make a claim, you better be able to prove it.
Prove it. Just prove it. Prove I was operating a commercial vehicle. Prove I was driving a car. Prove it. If you believe I was driving a car, that's fine. As far as I'm concerned, I was just taking my property from here to there and causing no harm to my fellow man. Where's the law that says I can't do that?
Right, but there's still a way, for instance, that you might want to start a business and then, or you might become employed by that business wherein you drive a truck as an agent for your employer, in which case you are required to have a driver's license.
Okay. If you want to, that's fine. If you want to, that's absolutely that's nice. I mean, if you want to operate outside of out into the public, if you don't want to do it in private, yes. Should you have all these requirements by the government? Absolutely.
Yeah, remember, government itself is just an agency of the people.
Well, if you know anything about trucking right now, it's almost impossible for them to find drivers because of all their stupid, ridiculous regulations and rules. If you ever actually look inside of a tractor trailer lately, it's like a whole bunch of like kids and old ladies driving it. And guys like me don't drive no more. We're like, there's no money to be made here. Yep. So when it's almost impossible for them to find decent drivers to haul the freight. And people are like, why are Walmart stores empty? Why are all these stores empty? It's like, because, you know, they made it so ridiculous that guys don't want to drive trucks anymore. You know, go buy some little old lady because, you know what, we're done.
Yeah, they're beating up the interstate commerce, the people that's engaged in interstate commerce. You know, they do have certain powers under their Constitution in regards to their property and their lands. And that's all cool, fine, and dandy. But, yeah, there is a thing we call capacity. In which we act, and a lot of times we subject ourselves. The main thing is comes from that birth certificate. You know, there's been a record and a presumption made, and that's all fine and dandy that you run around believing it. Like you said, you can believe what you want, but I have a little dispute, and this was just in my case where they did admit, they had the gall to say that I was an infant of unknown parentage and an illegitimate child on the record that the birth certificate comes from, but realizing that the birth certificate is an instrument. And you know what an instrument is, Carl, don't you?
Yeah, but the only problem is you keep using the word they. They doesn't have a vocal cord. A man would have to say. A man would have to be making all these accusations against you. All you have to do is call out the man. Just call out the man. Who's the man who's saying that? Is there a man speaking in this court? Where's that man? Why don't you just call out the man? If you're saying that this is what they make a presumption and assumption in a court, and they're moving a court saying birth certificate, this, just say, who's the man who's speaking at this time? I don't think I was properly introduced. Have the man appear, come before the court.
Yep.
He's not going to appear because there is no man that's going to appear.
Right, and that's what I say all the time. There is not going to be no one is going to come in there and attest to the accuracy or the honesty of that instrument. Nobody.
Regardless of the instrument, it's the first time anybody opens up their mouth in court. You say, what man is speaking at this time? Is there a man been sworn in? Is there a man who's given testimony at this time? And it's funny, if you ask that question, the judge will say, 9 times out of 10, he says, nobody's given testimony today.
What if the judge come out and told you the truth? He said, okay, Mr. Lentz, here's the deal, or Carl, whatever you want to be called yourself, call yourself toaster oven. It doesn't make any difference to me. But here's the truth of the situation. I have a state agency over here, which is a third party in relationship to the agency that you operate under the United States. Not saying that you are, but most people do. But you're over here operating the agency, and even though we don't have jurisdiction over you, technically, we do have jurisdiction over that agency and its estate. And if the agent should act without the scope of authority, we will have jurisdiction over you. Because as far as I'm concerned here in Kentucky, someone that comes from a foreign state, they have to... Just say the judge, are you willing to testify to that? Yes, I'm willing to testify to that.
He won't do it. He will not do it. He will not. Tell me the last time you've seen a judge get off the bench, come around the corner, put his hand on the Bible, and testify to that.
Yeah, I'm going to recuse myself, and I'm going to be witness, because I know personally...
When was the last time you saw that? When was the last time you saw that?
Well, I have the record. I have evidence right here that leads me to believe that, yes, you do operate a state agency. There's your signature, yep. There's the instrument, yes.
Did he witness it? Was he there? So when you get the chance to cross-examine, if the judge came around the bench and he sat on the witness box, you'd have the opportunity to cross-examine and say, did you witness the signature? Do you have the chain of custody of that document? How do you know that document hasn't been altered? How do you know that's not a forgery? Where's the chain of command? That piece of paper is something.
The first thing I would ask you is, who are you? As a judge, the first thing I would ask you, who are you? And you would say...
The judge would come around the bench. He's a man. Only a man can testify.
I have a case here before me. It's the county of Steal-A-Lot versus Mr. Karl Lentz. You Mr. Karl Lentz?
It depends on who's asking.
The court is asking. I, as the judge...
The court is the plaintiff. The court is the plaintiff. The judge is just there to bear witness for what happens in the court.
Well, before I can move forward or anything, I got to make sure I have the proper parties in front of me. Are you Karl Lentz or aren't you?
It depends on who summons me to appear. Who summons me to appear?
The county of...
I don't recognize the county. I've never been properly introduced. I have no idea who this county is.
Do not recognize the county, that's fine, but the people of this county who formed this government and formed this municipal corporation has authorized this county administration to have the jurisdiction to oversee these matters involving this subject matter of this case.
Is any of the people here? Is there any of the people here today?
Mr. Lentz, I'll play the role, okay? For fun? I'll play the role. Mr. Lentz. I'm here to deal with the business that is before the court today. And the business before the court today has to do with an accusation and charge against a Mr. Karl Lentz. Are you Mr. Karl Lentz or aren't you?
Have you not received a notice? I put would
you please sit down, because this has nothing to do with
then my notice is before the court. My answer is before the court. I have properly answered this court, well in advance of today.
All right. And I'm looking at the document here that you entered. I can't understand the name here. What's your name again?
My answer is before the court.
So you don't have a name?
I produced a. I entered it. My answer is before the court. I've got nothing else to say.
Well, good.
My answer is now before the. My answer is before the court.
Would you please sit down and let the court handle its business then, please?
No problem. I'm out of here. Have a nice day. Goodbye, bye.
Go ahead.
Have a nice day.
Okay. Mr. Karl Lentz has not showed up today. I'm issuing a warrant for Karl Lentz.
I already told you. The notice is before the court. I already answered it days ago, weeks ago, months ago. I've already answered the court.
That's fine. That's fine. Whoever you are, I don't know. But bailiff, if he interrupts my court again, would you escort him out of my courtroom, please?
And if the bailiff walked near me, I'd say, sir, if you put one hand, if you touch me, I will own you. I will sue you for everything you've got. You have no right to touch another man.
Right.
I do not give you authority to touch me.
Well, then I'm requesting that you leave or be escorted.
I wish to. I have as much right to occupy this place on planet Earth as anybody else. As a matter of fact, I was summoned here.
All right. Could you
I was invited here.
Could I see the proof that you have the right to be here?
Yeah, the summons.
You have the evidence.
The summons. The summons is before the court.
And who the summons is the name? What name is the summons in?
Somebody named Mr. County.
So you are Mr. Karl Lentz. The person today.
It depends on who's asking. Who's asking?
I'm simply trying to ascertain whether or not you are the person that is being
I only have a duty and obligation to answer to my fellow man. Are you a man? Is that a man speaking to me?
No, actually, Mr. Lentz, I'm going to tell you the truth. Like I said, if you were listening before, this is where a third-party agency of the Commonwealth of Kentucky has charged an agency and an entity and franchise of the United States. And the franchise of that United States entity is called...
I already put an answer. Look, all I would say, the answer is before the court. A man now is before this court.
Okay, well, this case doesn't involve a man, Mr. Lentz.
Well, then why did you summons me to appear?
You are on record as being the registered agent for service of process for the citizen and entity Karl Lentz.
You know what I can say? You know what I can say to him? Say, yes, I am. Oh, but now watch this. No, you know what? I don't wish to accept that title any longer. I don't feel there's a benefit. Now there's a man before you. Now you're just dealing with the man.
Yes,
the person appeared. The person appeared. Yes, I appeared now as a person. Oh, now watch. Now I'm evoking common law. No, now I only wish for the man to appear. Sorry. But the person appeared? Yes, the person appeared. The person appeared for about a microsecond. I said, yeah, the person known as Karl Lentz is here. Oh, yeah, by the way, I see no benefit in acting as a person any longer. Now I'm a man. Now the man is
I'm going to explain to people why I said what I said, because, see, Karl doesn't know who he is in relationship to the person, Karl Lentz, because if we go to the video of the Judge Bows the Sovereign, let's not listen to the guy who's sitting there claiming to be an administrator. Let's listen to the judge and why he got upset. It's because he knows you're a man. The judge knows you're a man. He asked the man, he said, are you Keith Wolford Thompson? And the guy said, no, I'm Keith. I'm the administrator. And the judge said, you're not Keith Wolford Thompson? He said, no. He said, no, that's not me. And the judge tells him to sit down. And the reason he tells him to sit down is because if you're not Keith Wolford Thompson and you're not interested, what are you doing here?
Okay, like I said, the only problem with that is you can't accept to stand in the capacity of a person. You say, yes, I am a person. Well, the only problem is I'm not a person in which you have jurisdiction over. I'm not a person within your legal society.
But the person that you use that is in the name of your house is in the name of your car is and all the property that you got through the system is in the name of a person of the subject to the jurisdiction of which I have jurisdiction over. If we listen to the judge, what the judge says in that situation, he tells the guy, he says, you are either him or you are his agent. And Karl, if you are not him, that person, or his agent, please sit down and quit bothering my court, because this has to do.
That's right, because, look, one more time. I would not appear in somebody else's court without my notice before the court that I am also moving my court in this court. At the same time, the other side is occupying this courthouse. In this courtroom, there's two courts going on. There's the county courts going on, and there's called the man's court going on.
Well, we're pressing charges against this entity right here called Karl Lentz.
Like I said, look, when we did this in England, the people I helped, 3 of them, as soon as the judge was done, they said they had 5 counts against them. Count 1, guilty. Count 2, guilty. Count 3, guilty. Count 4, guilty. Count 5, guilty. Now, for the common law side of the court, with the claim of the man that is now before this court, all 5 counts are discharged. Have a nice day, folks. Boom. Because they understand the hierarchy of the common law. Yes, I said we are guilty of all those 5 counts. 5 counts, 500, 5,000 counts. We are guilty as charged. No doubt about it. I'm sure this honorable man from the Crown prosecutor, I'm sure he's a diligent man, and I'm sure he knows every single nuance about every single code. I'm sure he got case law precedent under his belt. I'm sure he's the most learned attorney barrister that you people could find. Absolutely. The only problem is we stand upon a common law land. This is England, right? I looked around and said, this is still England. This isn't France, right? Yeah, that's right. This is England. It's still a common law land, correct? Yeah. There's a claim before the court as a man. You have 2 courts proceeding now at this time. You have the code, the civil code going on, and you got the code of common law. You got the court of common law moving.
Right.
So, am I guilty? You better believe I'm guilty. You better believe the person known as Karl Lentz and these other people are guilty as charged through the bar, through the Bar Association, through the Crown. Absolutely. The only problem is we are not a person, because a person is a man who ascribes to be within a certain society, and according to his rank, that society may impose upon him certain duties and obligations. The only problem is I am a man, correct, but I am not a person within the legal society nor the Crown Society. I am just a common law man. I do not have any affiliation to any bar association or any legal society. So if the legal society or the Crown or the bar is filing a claim or a complaint that I'm guilty of something, I'm sure I am. The only problem is they cannot impose upon me because I am not a person within their society.
Well, that works for a lot of the so-called legislative will or legislative acts. I agree with you there. But, what happens when we have somebody who does business, let's say you do business out of Virginia and you do business with somebody in India? What law governs?
You better believe I'm in the public. You better believe whatever the government's involved, any government entity, Once I leave my private property, I'm at the mercy of the United States government or the Indian government or anything in between.
Or whatever you agree to, right?
Well, it doesn't matter whether I agree or not. They got the guns and they're going to protect their borders. They're going to protect their borders.
I see that a little bit differently, and only because it makes sense to me. If for instance, take your Skype program. When you install Skype or a computer program on your computer, you agreed to something. Hey, yeah, I didn't read it. I didn't know. I don't understand it. I'm not subject to it. Well, you may or may not be, but that'll be something the courts that will decide, especially if they have jurisdiction over the subject matter and the person. Right.
Skype isn't private. Skype is public.
You're right, Karl. You're not a person, but you can
Skype is public. You better believe I could be held liable for what I do on Skype. It's not private. Look, if I wanted to go to Cuba and deal with Fidel Castro and put 10,000 kilos of cocaine on my boat, and as soon as I get to the United States, I put it on my truck and I take it home to my house, there's not a damn thing any government entity could do to me because I've not exposed the public. Everything has been done in the private. Everything to that point has been done in the private. Now, if I take that cocaine and I put it on an LTL, if I put it on less than low common carrier, and I put it on a freight train, then I expose the public to danger. Then I can be held liable.
Let's take your theory and let's put it into practice. You take a boat down to Cuba. When you get the cocaine on the boat, you call me and tell me what port you're coming in, and I'll call the feds down there, and we'll see.
Yeah, you keep it in the private. As long as it's the private, there's nothing they can do. It's the same thing with it's just called the domestic authority doctrine, just like Hillary Clinton said. She said, look, sir, Hillary Clinton explained what the domestic authority doctrine means. She's like, we would love to trespass onto somebody else's territory. We would love to go into somebody else's dominion. We would love to cross a border. We would like to break and enter. We would love to do it. But the domestic authority doctrine, which the United States ascribed this, we can't enter into a sovereign land. We can't do it.
I got a question. Can I build a nuclear weapon here in my room in private and not be subject to the jurisdiction of the United States?
Absolutely. If you know how to move it, if you know how to hold yourself in court, if you know how to hold.
I'm telling you, listen to me. I'm going to come over and arrest you, Carl. I'm going to bust down your door. I'm going to snatch you up.
Come on, Bob. Come on over, Bob. You could threaten me all you wish. You could trespass, and then I'm going to file a claim of trespass, and I'm going to require you to return my property.
It's not you personally. I'm just saying, if there's somebody over here endangering someone's life, I have the power. See, that's why the government is going to arrest you. It's because
endangering. How am I endangering somebody's life? Whatever I do in my privacy in my home, how am I endangering you?
If you're over there building a nuclear weapon, Carl.
That's right. I could be doing all kinds of things over here that the government could say might endanger somebody. So what? They understand property. They understand the concept of property. Look, we don't live in Nazi Germany. You can't just come kicking indoors.
Look,
I had a phone call. There's a phone call up on YouTube, and it says Karl Lentz and Deanna lady. And there's cops knocking on her door. There's a captain of the sheriff's department. They have social workers out there. They got 3 squad cars out there. They got a warrant for her arrest and the pickup order of the baby. They could not get through her door because I kept telling her, throw notes out to these people. Keep talking to them through the door. And then they finally left. Yes, they had a pickup order for the baby. Yes, they had a warrant for her arrest.
Yeah, but that's not a nuclear weapon, Carl.
It doesn't matter. I am telling you. You could say that they're going to do it. Fine, but you could also make a claim that you want your property back. It's your property. It's just like, okay, you have the mind. Say you have the mind that has the ability to create a nuclear weapon. What are they going to do? Take your mind from you? Brainwash you? Dumb you down?
It's like this. If the only reason the government agencies have any power at all is because it comes from us, because we have that power. You right now, if I witness a felony cognizable under the laws of the United States, I'll arrest you. I'm indemnified.
Okay. Look at all the knowledge that you have in your brain right now. Look at all the knowledge you have in your brain right now, and you're a very severe threat to the government as they exist. You're a very threatening man to the judicial system. You are threatening to them at every level because you are so smart. What are they going to do? Come in and erase your brain?
Well, no, but being so smart doesn't endanger people.
Oh yeah, it endangers their whole way of life. It's going to be chaos. You're going to overthrow the entire judicial system. The legal bar association is going to fall down to ruins. The IRS is going to be dissolved because you are so smart, and you're going to teach these people so much knowledge that you're going to knock the government down to the core. What are they going to do? Erase your brain?
I'm telling them to use it. I'm telling them to use the government. See, because I can distinguish the difference between government and government agents.
Okay. Well, like I said, just because somebody believes that what you're doing is dangerous, if you're doing it in the private, there's nothing they can do about it.
I agree. That's why I stay private.
That's right. It's just private. There's nothing they can do. They can't trespass. They got to go. They got to go try to get warrants. They got to try to get all this ridiculous nonsense. Search warrants. They got to try to get everything before they come into your home.
Sure.
And then once they come in, there's a warrant. You say, "Oh, lovely! I love warrants. Come into my home. Come into my home and take my nuclear device. I've got no problem with that." Oh, and you did remember to attach that bond to the warrant, right? Because that nuclear bomb cost me $1 million to make. So you got $1 million bond attached to that, right? And you can take everything you want, but you're not stealing. You're going to compensate me.
Right.
Yeah. So just make a claim for compensation.
I'll have that big fat check ready for you when you get out of prison.
Why would I go to prison?
Well, you know, a lot of people go to prison, Paul.
Because they don't know how to get in and out of court.
Well, I agree.
They might know how to make a nuclear bomb, but that doesn't mean they know how to get out of court. They might know how to every little nuance about the IRS, like Ernest Schiff, but he has no clue how to get in and out of court.
I agree.
Just because you're a master at bankruptcy or mortgages or credit card or anything, can you get in and out of court? That's the trick. Just because you guys are so freaking smart with these birth certificates, I mean, can you get in and out of court? Can you hold your own in court?
Listen, Carl, I've settled my issues. I no longer have issues with the birth certificate. It's fixed. It doesn't make me smart. It just so happens I ran across a little nice piece of gold nugget information that told me what the birth certificate is, and I pursued it, and I won. All right? That means I went all the way straight from the state court to the federal court, back to the administrative. No disputes is my claim. I'm waiting for settlement. Why? Because I know what this birth certificate is, and I know this is the matrix that they tie all their legal bullshit on.
So you got a speeding ticket. So you got a speeding ticket, and you used a birth certificate?
No.
So what was the case?
Because, see, well, this is what I'm saying, Carl. You know, I was having some issues, like a lot of people do, deciding what was going on. And yes, I've listened to you quite a bit, and I agree with a lot of stuff you say. But the thing is that I have an instrument here.
Okay, what case were you involved with? That you had to use a birth certificate, or you had to dispel the belief of the birth certificate? What case were you involved with? Traffic ticket, parking,
My case. I brought a declaratory judgment. See,
you wanted the court to give you a DJ, and that proves what?
Well, it gives me evidence. And then once I had my declaratory judgment telling me what the birth certificate is, and when they told me that I was operating a state agency, then a
DJ is just an opinion of a judge prior to a lawsuit.
And
that's all. It's just an opinion, dude. A DJ is just an opinion. It doesn't mean that when you actually pursue it through an actual court, that DJ can't even be used in a court opinion.
Oh, yes, it can. Well, I don't know what DJ you've been reading, but here, all law, statutes, and ordinances in conflict with the declaratory judgment is hereby repealed. Here in Kentucky, my declaratory judgment repealed all their statutes.
Just because you get a DJ, say you are suing me, and just because you got a DJ in your favor by some judge who gives you an opinion, doesn't mean that once I actually get before trial by jury that your DJ is going to hold any weight whatsoever with the jury.
Oh, yes,
you got a DJ from a judge. Did you get a DJ from a jury? Did you get the DJ? Did you get it from a jury? Did you get the DJ from the jury?
A newly constituted court having authority over the subject matter.
Did you get it over? Did you get the DJ from a judge, or do you get DJs from juries?
Well, there was no dispute as to the facts, so there was no need for
you get DJ from judges. You could take your DJ from the judge, and I say, you know what? Show it to the jury. I'll see it in a real court.
What I need it for is the evidence to bring my case.
That's fine. Bring your case, and I'm going to tell you, bring it before the jury. Take your DJ and bring it before the jury.
I don't have to. Listen, Carl. I don't have to take it in front of the jury when the defendant doesn't dispute the facts.
What I'm trying to say is, if I just made a simple example, if you were suing me and you wanted to say, I want to get a declaratory judgment to see if my line of defense should be on my property or should it be on your property, and you could take it to the judge, and the judge gives you a DJ in your favor, I'd say, you know what? That's a lovely opinion from that judge. He's just one judge. You know what? I'm still going to take me into court. I'm going to still take your ass into court, and we're going to see what the jury has to say about this. I don't give a damn about a DJ.
Okay.
That's just the opinion of one judge.
It is binding upon the parties to declaratory judgment. So you're thinking
it's not fine. It's not fine. Look, it has no impact. You can't enforce a DJ. It's just a declaratory judgment of what will happen if you take this into a full-blown trial by jury, a full-blown court.
No. See, this is where your presumption is wrong. No, I have an instrument, and under the Declaratory Judgments Act, I am entitled to a declaration of my rights and duties concerning this instrument. if I'm unsure or uncertain as to my status, which I was,
that's fine. Dude, you could get all that you want, and I'm still going to drag your ass into a full-blown court.
Right.
That's fine. You could still take your DJ and now show it to the jury and prove it. Because you know what? Just because you got it from a judge, one 80-year-old guy or a 16-year-old girl, I don't care who this judge was who made this DJ, gave you this DJ, I don't really give a rat's behind. I'm still going to invoke the right to take you before trial by jury. And you can show them all the DJs you want. And if I can convince the jury that I'm correct, oh well, the jury is going to award me. And then I could get that judgment from the jury executed. You're not going to get a DJ executed to take property from me. That ain't going to happen.
Well, it would depend on the legal relationship between us and what was being declared.
What I'm trying to say is you're not going to get a DJ. I'm not going, like I said, if I wanted the DJ, it's just to get an opinion of what would happen when there's a full-blown trial, before a full-blown trial gets commenced.
Well, yeah,
to save the party's expenses. It's supposed to save society, the court system, money. You're supposed to go get a DJ when you guys are like, you know what, we're really not sure if we're really going to take this into an open court or not. We really don't know where we stand. So, Judge, can you give us your learned opinion? And you know what? With your opinion, maybe we'll not take this into a full-blown trial. Maybe we will settle it. Maybe we will take a DJ and say, you know what? Maybe I was wrong. Maybe he was right. Thank you very much. I was like, you know what, Judge? I don't give a damn what you say. You know, I'm still
You're approaching one aspect of the declaratory judgment. There's other purposes for a declaratory judgment.
Like what?
I have an instrument, and I went and got my rights declared, and it's binding upon the parties. Yes, it can be reviewed. It can be appealed just like any other court case. But as far as it concerns the parties, it's binding upon the parties. Now, that doesn't mean a contract. I'm talking about this instrument here, and I'm talking about my status.
Okay, like I said, a DJ is just an opinion. Now, like I said, it's like going to an arbitrator. Just because the arbitrator says this is how I rule.
I can go down and get an opinion from a butcher concerning my brain tumor, but I'd rather have it from a medical professional, wouldn't you?
Well, all I'm saying is that a DJ is just an opinion of one judge. Now, if you want to make it so that the decision of the arbitrator is binding to the parties, you guys could enter into arbitration and say, just like when people have contracts when they sign up for a job, if you're an employee, and when you read the contract, it says, if you want to sue me, I'm your employer, I'm Coca-Cola. If you want to sue me, you can't take me into a full-blown court. You can't take me to your local district court. If you want to sue me, you have to go through some employment mediating arbitrator that the state of California provides for employees disputes. And you sign that contract. And then you'd have to go through mediation arbitration. Just saying that with a DJ, you say, okay, we go through a DJ. If you and I look, we'll go through a DJ, and we'll allow the judgment of that judge, that DJ, to be binding on us. Fine. Or if you say, look, you go get your DJ all you want, dude. I don't give a damn. I don't want no part of your DJ. You want to sue me? Sue me. Well, I'm going to take a DJ against you, dude. You get all the effing opinions you want.
Karl,
you're going to have no impact on me.
Karl, this has nothing to do with you. It has to do with me and this instrument.
What instrument?
Why don't you go listen to the beginning of the show and listen to my call?
You're talking about a birth certificate just because the judge gives one judge gives you an opinion of any instrument, a bond, certificate, a birth certificate, land certificate, whatever certificate. Just because one judge gives you an opinion of a certificate, I'm still going to move against you. If I still think I'm in the right, I don't give a damn what one judge says. I'm going to still drag you into a court and have a full-blown jury.
Well, come on.
That's right.
I got a legal opinion and a declaratory judgment by court. What do you got?
I don't need anything. I'm going to go into the jury. I'm going to present my case to the jury. That you are in the wrong and that I have done no wrong, that you have done wrong. And I don't give a damn.
Unfortunately, Karl, this is not in common law jurisdiction. You're not entitled to a jury trial. This is an administrative hearing under federal elementary jurisdiction.
That's lovely. Then you've got my notice before the court that I am not a person bound in admiralty. I'm not a person bound in administration.
You go sit down, and I'll just rape your person.
That's right. No, the person did appear, and the person gave you a notice that he's a man. He is not a person.
The
The person did appear. The person known as Karl Lentz did appear, and he gave you notice that he's not appearing in admiralty. He's not appearing in an administrative court. He's not appearing in any kind of legal statute. He's appearing in your court as a man. Yes, he is a person.
No,
but he is a man.
No, you're missing the whole point, brother. The charge is against you.
So let them get the guilty verdict against the person, because I also put my claim before the court that I am a man. And I'm also going to put the claim before the court that you have no jurisdiction or authority to bind my person under your jurisdiction. So you're going to find Karl Lentz guilty in your world. The only problem is I don't exist in your world.
Of course you're a man, Mr. Lentz. Who else would be the agent for the person before the court? What do you mean you're a man? Yes, I'm a living man. Yes.
No, I wouldn't say I'm a dead man. Why would I put an adjective? I'm a man.
So what does that have to do with it?
Because only another man has the capacity to move me. Only another man has power over me.
Listen, they're not moving you in the court. They're moving the organization in the court.
They can move any person they wish. They can.
Wait a minute. Karl, take a breath. Take a deep breath. In and out. Calm down. Okay, one at a time, gentlemen. Otherwise, I can't understand either one of you.
And I'm going to be done. Look, Karl, if you're not the person on the docket and you're not the agent of the person on the docket, what are you doing there?
I am a person. Like I said to you a billion times if you listen to my show. When I went there with the Punjabis, I said, we are persons. But persons not of your society, so you have no jurisdiction. And no matter what your society says about us, that we're ugly, we're fat, we're guilty, we're not guilty, we're rich, we're poor, we're tall, we're short, we don't effing care. Because you can't hold what you believe is a person under your jurisdiction and control. You can't hold us liable. Because we are a man. You see man here. On this side is man. And we have jurisdiction, we have responsibilities to those of our society. We are not of your society. So we're clearing this up beyond any shadow of a doubt. We are not members of your society. We are outside of your society. We are idiots. You can't move somebody who's incompetent.
Listen. I have a record here, a deed that tells me an organization was organized. This organization is being charged. Now, what are you doing here again?
I have no clue because I speak no legalese. And there's no law that requires me to answer in legalese. Now, I have a duty and obligation to speak. No, dude, you let me answer. Dude, you asked me the question. I'm going to answer you. Dude, I'm answering the question. I have no duty or responsibility or liability to speak a language in which I'm not competent in. I told you I was an idiot in legalese. This is a legal matter. I do not speak in legalese. I have a duty and obligation to speak to my fellow man. Now, is there a man before this court that claims I've done wrong? Yes or no? If there is no man who's claiming I've done anything wrong, there is no point in me to move anything further through this court. And you can't move anything against me. I'm a man.
You're free to leave whenever you want.
And I'm free to stay as long as I want.
This has nothing to do with a man. This I have a state agency charging this organization here. You said you're not the organization.
That's lovely. Then why did
you please disturb my court? Go. I don't
care. Why did you summons me to appear? Then why did you summons me to appear?
I did not summons you to appear. I summoned the organization. But what I did do is I served the registered agent for service of process. But the man who acts as agent for service of process is an idiot and don't know what the fuck to do with it.
That's fine. Like I said, they have no jurisdiction over the man. I don't want to be competent in their legalese. And there's no law that requires me to be competent in legalese. There's nothing for me to answer to the other side because the other side is not speaking to me because it's speaking to me in a foreign language.
All I'm saying, Karl, is why are you here disturbing my court if this organization is not you and you have no interest in it? Why are you here bugging me in my court?
Why am I here? Is because you had some cops drag my ass in here at the end of a gun.
Oh, I did I?
Yeah.
You got some evidence of this?
Yeah, these two clowns standing right here with a gun pointing to my head.
Because there's different circumstances. Now, what goes on, Karl, is when they serve the service of process, The reason they bring it to the people, and you might want to think about this when you talk about your angle, the person that is being served is an organization. It's an agency. And the reason they're bringing it to the man.
They're handing it to the man. Dude, they're handing it to the man.
Yes,
they're handing it to you physically.
Because he's the registered agent for service of process for the
They're handing it to the man.
All entities must have a registered.
And I gave them a notice that they handed it to a man. See, when they handed me that summons, I immediately answered within 3 minutes, I'm already writing a letter to the other side. I said, do you realize you just summoned the man? Do you realize you have no jurisdiction and control authority over a man? Can you show me where this jurisdiction authority derives?
It has nothing to do with the man.
Yes, it does, because I wrote dude, when you summons me to appear to your costume party, when you summons me to appear to your court, when you summons me to appear, I'm going to RSVP you so effing fast your head's going to spin. You summons me to appear, I want to know exactly who do you believe I am, and by what authority do you think that you have control over me?
Stop, please.
I'm not going to wait 3 months, 6 months, or a year when you get me into a courtroom and start asking these ridiculous questions. As soon as I get a summons, I'm writing back to you immediately, and I'm saying, just who the fuck do you think I am?
Okay, Karl, let KW respond now.
Well, yeah, I'm going to say one more thing, and it's the most important thing. Because, see, when we have people like Karl show up to court and he doesn't know what's going on, it causes a big ruckus and things happen. Not to say that Karl doesn't have principle law. He's got good stuff. But one thing he doesn't understand is what is an entity, a person, and who the registered agent for that entity is. They're not serving the man. They're bringing the service of process to the man.
Okay, let me tell you. Let me explain a little simpler. They delivered to me something in a letter, right? They deliver something to me in a package, a letter. They deliver me anthrax. Okay, they put anthrax in an envelope. Okay, it caused me harm. Okay, they put summons in there. Look, dude, I'm answering the question. You served me something.
I didn't ask the question.
You served.
Listen to what I'm saying. Let me say what I got to say.
You're saying somebody like me is going to start a disturbance in the courtroom. I am not. The minute that I get something handed to me, and there's a letter in there, and it's threatening, or it's saying you're going to go to jail, or it's saying that you're going to get fined, or it's got anthrax in there, it's going to cause me harm, I'm going to immediately write back and say, just who is responsible for threatening me? Who is committing this act against the man?
I want everybody who's listening in my group to take no note of Karl's position, because once we understand why they're bringing you the service of process, you'll get it. All right, Karl doesn't get it, and I hope everybody in my group does get it, that when some man shows up in the court hollering why the judge gets upset. Because
I don't have to, dude, I'm writing it all. Dude, they don't summons me to appear and then I have to appear in 1 minute. When they serve you the summons to appear, it's like 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. I am telling you, as soon as they serve me, I'm going to say, who is this clown who's dragging my body and who's interrupting my life? I have the right to be let alone. I've only got so many minutes and so many seconds left on planet Earth. Who the hell is the fool that's crazy enough to summons my body to appear under threat? Who's going to threaten me with a gun? Who's threatening me with jail time? No, I want to know the name of this man who thinks that he can control my body.
Address my issue, please. See, you're under the presumption that when they bring that service of process to you and hand it to you in your hand, you think it's you.
I know if they're going to come after me with a gun. If I don't take it seriously, dude, if I don't take it seriously, they're going to come at me with a gun, right?
Brother, listen to me.
If I don't answer, dude, if I don't show up, they're coming at me with a gun, right?
Hey, you know God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, and you should probably listen twice as much as you speak. Now, if you let me say what I'm going to say here, you can have the floor. What I'm saying is when they bring the service of process to you, the reason they are bringing it to you is because you are on file as being the registered agent for that entity. Now, if you go into court and say, yes, I'm the agent for that entity, you don't have to claim only a man can be the agent. An entity could do no thing. Of course they're going to bring it to the man because an entity could do no thing. It must be done by agent. So when they are you trying to tell me an attorney can't be an agent? I said nothing like that. What are you talking about?
Can an attorney be an agent for the principal?
God, man. Listen to me.
Yeah, he can. The attorney can be an agent for the principal. Yes, and the attorney bears no liability for the acts of the principal. I am just telling you something very simple. If somebody summons me to appear in court, I understand that if I don't comply with their service to appear, whether it's man on man or government on man, or if you're serving me a summons to appear, and I don't appear, you could have them drag me into court by gunpoint.
Okay, well, what if you're just a dumbass and presuming that they're summoning you to court, but they're really not summoning you to court, they're summoning the organization to court, and you just show up making a big scene?
Okay, well, like I said, if you're mentally retarded, you want me to play the role of a mentally retarded. What do you want me to do?
Well, what I'm saying is, don't presume when you can serve that process that is for you. The reason they're giving it to you, Karl, is because you're the registered agent for that person.
And how would somebody who's super simple, who's like a third grade education, has any clue that they're a registered agent for anything?
Well, they go down and sign papers all the time. What
if they can't read or write? Like my dad. My dad couldn't read or write English. He didn't sign any damn thing. Okay, so you telling me I'm super stupid. I can't read or write. I can't sign a damn thing.
Okay.
So you summons me to appear, and every man on planet Earth knows how to say who. Every man on planet Earth knows how to say.
To appear, I summoned an organization to appear. And when I summoned this organization, I got some crazy bad man showing up telling me he's a man and that he's not. I don't even know what he's doing here.
Can you show me any summons? Can you show me any summons? Can you show me any summons that ever existed? Can you show me any summons that you ever seen on planet Earth that says we summons the organization to appear?
No, it says we summons a name. It's got a name.
That's what I'm saying. But no, you keep saying, like a broken record, that they're serving a summons for the organization to appear. I've never seen a summons that say the organization to appear.
It's the organization's name. An organization is a person, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is, but it doesn't say that on the summons. It says Karl Lentz.
That's right, and that's the legal name.
It doesn't say, it doesn't, but you keep saying the summons says for the organization to appear. It doesn't say the organization to appear.
Listen, that's the legal name of the person, the legal name of the registered
dude, an organization. Dude, I am a corporate. Dude, I am a corporate. Dude, if you actually look, if you looked up the word organization or corporation, it's the joining of two parties. My mom and my dad created this corporation, this corpse known as Karl Lentz. I am a corporate.
On this birth certificate instrument, there's a third party called the state.
No, it's not. It's not a third party in the same. It's not a third party within a third dimension. It's a second dimensional. It's not. It has no bearing over the man. A piece of paper can't bind a man. A piece of paper can't control man. It's not the same. It's the birth certificate.
Every day, a piece of paper puts men in jail every day. You sign a piece of paper, you take a contract with your.
Bruce, okay, why would you be stupid enough to sign a piece of paper if you don't know what it is?
I wouldn't, but a lot of people have.
So then that's their dumbass. If they sign their soul over to the devil and they go to hell, well, gee, what did they expect?
All right, well, what do you expect when you go into court and you think you're somebody you're not and holler all that crazy stuff when all you have to do is go in there as the agent? Yes, Your Honor, I am here. I am the authorized representative for that person. The defendant neither admits nor denies any wrongdoing, but is authorized me to settle the charges. Here's the authorization papers. And here's the authorized signature. Take care of it, Judge.
This is the creditors in commerce spiel that you're doing.
It's not creditors in commerce.
It's exactly what it is. You're accepting all the liability and responsibility for the principal. Yeah, no. This is exactly what creditors in commerce promoted.
Am I the principal or the agent? Who's liable? The principal or the agent? Well, the answer is it depends on the circumstances. But you would know that if you knew about the law of agency. So
you're telling me if you blew through a stop sign and you were drunk, or you blew a bullet through some kid's head, you think that spiel is going to work in court?
No.
So where's that going to work?
It's going to work any time that there's presentments against this organization. I am not an organization. Do you agree?
No, I am an organization. My parents assembled me by joining.
Reason and logic just went out the window later, folks.
What I'm saying is, if you actually look up corpse or corporation, it's when two entities get together and merge. My mom and dad merged together, and they created this corpse, this corporation. By incorporating, they created me. And this creditors in commerce stuff, where's it going to work? Like this guy, the last creditors in commerce nonsense that was one of the last ones I ever heard was this tugboat captain said, "Oh, I gave this promissory note to a site draft to a judge to pay off all the debt." For having kitty porn on my computer. And then the judge said, okay, fine. You know what? We're going to see if this promissory note, if this site draft is any good, and we can find you at this location. Yeah, okay. Well, you're free to leave. And when I found out that site draft was a joke, obviously the sheriff's department went down there to go get him. And his wife called me up and said, Carl, my husband did his credits and commerce nonsense, accepted full liability of insurance, the agent, the principal, known as blah, 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 blah. He says, and he's out on the ocean now, hiding out in his tugboat. What can we do? I said, look, just ask the prosecuting attorney, is there a debt outstanding to society? What is the cost of what my husband has been charged with? And ask him if he could settle the debt and pay off the debt with green dollars. And if all you got is $2 green a week, just make the offer. They'll accept it. They're easy to work with. As long as they're seeing that you're willing to accept the debt, you're willing to accept the charge, you're willing to accept it and say, fine, you know what? I really don't want to study too much about law. I really don't want to understand what a man is compared to what an entity is, what a corporation is. You know what? I'm willing to play the driver's license game. Fine, I'll keep the driver's license. I'll keep birth certificates. I'll keep credit cards. You know what? But the best I could do on this traffic ticket, sir, like I did back in 1992, he gave me a $300 fine. I said the best I could do is $5 a week for 60 weeks. And he said, can you do $6 for 50 weeks? I said, sir, then I'd be a liar. I'd be going back on my word. I gave you my word. It's 5 for 60. If I could pay it all off in 2 days, believe me, I will pay early. But you're going to cause harm to I and my family if you require me to pay more than $5 a week. I got 2 kids and a wife to take care of. And right now, that was over moonshine. Over this moonshine charge, I lost my job. So I know this honorable court does not want to cause any harm to man. Is that not true? He's like, fine. See the court clerk work out arrangements of payments. I said, thank you, sir. Have a nice day. Just accept the damn charge. That's fine. I got no problem accepting the charges. Just like when I was over in England, I totally accepted the charges. I said, I guarantee this barrister, this crown, so I guarantee this crown prosecutor, I guarantee he's got these 3 Punjabis dead to right. I guarantee in legalese, these Punjabis, the 5 charges they've been charged with, they're going to be charged with 50 or 500 charges. You know what? I'm sure this very learned man from the Bar Association, from the Crown, I'm sure he's got all his ducks in a row, and I'm sure he could prove his case beyond a shadow of a doubt. The only problem is there's another case before this court. It's called the common law case. And I require this court to hear this matter at the same time that it's proceeding through this court from the Crown.